Hello there. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership and make sure that your home closing is smooth, simple, and that you understand every step of the process. So a lot of times I try to come to you a couple times a week and bring you information that I either get questions about or that are experiences we've had in our more than 30 years worth of closing experience. And so many things are involved in the closing process that there's so many things for us to talk about. But I love it when I get questions from the viewers, all of you that are actually watching, paying attention, viewing all the information, and maybe something comes up. Maybe it's a question I can answer, maybe it's a question I can't answer, but I can definitely find out the answer for you with respect to closing, real estate, and mortgages. So one of the questions that most recently came up is we were talking about the closing process, and we've been discussing protecting home ownership for the past couple of weeks, and we talk about liens on the property or mortgages that aren't paid, and that all sounds very confusing because you would assume that when you go to closing, everything is clear and taken care of, and when you purchase that new home, no one has the ability or the right to come back and say to you afterwards, hey, you owe this because you took over the seller's responsibility. Hey, you have to take care of this, or this is not part of your property, or those kind of things that would affect your home ownership after you went to closing. Now, a lot of people think closing is all about making sure that everything that happens comes together like it's supposed to, make sure that all the numbers are right, all the people come together at the same time, everything about the house is all taken care of, and that is very true. But one of the main things that the title company does is they review the title or the ownership of that property, and they make sure that there aren't any things that are out there that could affect your ownership after you take ownership at that closing table, after that property is transferred to you from the sellers. And most importantly, that title company should be reviewing the previous ownerships back for quite a long time and verify that there isn't any breaks in the ownership, there isn't any concerns, there isn't any problems that could affect you at a later point. So one of the things that we see, particularly after the housing issue that happened, it's commonly called the housing crisis that happened over the last several years that we obviously are coming out of now, is there was a lot of homes that were foreclosed on. And in those foreclosures, if the property was located in a neighborhood that had homeowners association, the homeowners association dues probably weren't paid, and there may be a lien on that property. Now, when someone does the closing for you and pulls together all of those pieces, they should be searching that title to make sure that there isn't any outstanding bills that have not been paid that could affect your ownership after you take ownership. But if this is the tricky part, if the documents aren't filed properly in the land records, and that could be done for several reasons. First of all, you're talking about human beings, and when documents are actually recorded in the land records, they could have the wrong book and page on it. It could be that the person searching that title didn't see something. Maybe it wasn't filed in the proper place, in the proper order, or maybe they just missed it. Or when you went through the closing, maybe the company that did the closing didn't clean up one of those types of problems. And so what happens is you're stuck with a bill that shows up after you go to closing, and someone is sending you a certified letter saying, hey, you need to be into court, or hey, you've got to pay this bill that I realize it was the seller's bill, but you now own that property and you have to take care of this bill. So, oh my gosh, what do? You just went to closing on your brand new house. It's not your bill, but you have to defend yourself, and you have to hire someone to help you get this resolved. And so those are really expenses that you have, that if you can't find the seller or you can't figure out what's going on after closing, maybe that title company's not in business anymore, you're going to rely on that insurance policy that you get at closing, which is an owner's title insurance policy, which protects that ownership and covers you for as long as you own the property. And you're going to rely on that to resolve this issue. And the title company who is insuring that property and ensuring that ownership is going to be the company that actually comes in, has their attorneys take care of these problems for you and resolve this issue. So no, you don't have to pay that bill, but there's lots of reasons why that could show up. And if you chose not to, owner's title insurance is an optional coverage, and it says it right at closing. Most title companies offer it to you at closing and explain it to you, but if you choose not to get it, then you won't be protected, and it'll be a lot bigger battle for you to resolve this kind of issue. Now, how could those kind of things happen? Well, as I said, something could be filed incorrectly in the land records. Someone could have totally just missed it when they were reviewing the paperwork. Someone at your title company, when they got the search, if it had been missed up to them, then they wouldn't even know about it to resolve the issue for you. Or you may have a title company who doesn't follow all the proper procedures. Maybe the person reviewing it missed it or just didn't pay attention to it. And so now you're left trying to figure out how to take care of this lien. Does it happen often? Probably about 30% of the time, there's some lien that carries through that maybe someone didn't find. And, you know, as I said, maybe you don't owe it. Maybe you can go into court and fight it, but you have to defend yourself. And as we all know, that can be very expensive to hire an attorney to protect your interest and help you navigate through those areas. So when we talk about protecting home ownership, we're really talking about making sure you're dealing with a title company that's been around for a long time, that isn't going somewhere, that has a great track record of making sure that you don't have claims. And that's easy enough to be able to ask. You have the right to choose who does that closing for you, and you want to make sure that after closing, you have that protection and you have a company that's going to stand behind you when everyone else has moved on to the next property or the next situation that they're dealing with, or the seller's moved on to a different area and they're not in local for you to talk to or be able to help get this resolved. So that's what we're talking about when you talk about a title company and protecting your home ownership. You're talking about several things, but most importantly, you're talking about that title insurance policy that protects your interest after you go to closing, that no one can ever come back and say, hey, I have an ownership interest in the property, or hey, there's a lien on this property that needs to be resolved. And when we're talking about a lien, we could be talking about a couple $100s, or you could be talking about many thousands of dollars. So maybe you don't owe it, but you have to defend yourself, and that's really expensive. And title insurance covers you on that as well. So hopefully I answered a question for you today. If not, or if maybe it spurred another question, feel free to reach out and let me know if you have questions about the real estate process, about the closing process, about the mortgage process. As I said, I don't know all the answers, but I do know some great professionals that I can rely on to get some of those answers if it's something I'm not sure about. So hopefully I did help you. If you enjoyed or got some good information out of the broadcast, please click the share button and share it with those people that you know, because there may be somebody in your circle of friends that may have this question or maybe didn't understand or maybe getting ready to go to closing, and it's something that they need to know about. So hopefully I helped you guys today. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I love talking to you. I come to you on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 7 and 9, usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I love catching up with you guys. Feel free to reach out and let me know if you have any questions. There's a lot of good tools and resources on our website, www.foottetitlegroup.com. And right now there's a resource particularly about President Lincoln and how he had a problem that title insurance would have resolved. So go on there, check it out. It's right on the homepage. Download our latest feature. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Have a great day, everybody.